First of all, a big thank you. Thank you. Hey, welcome to another video. Yes, I start this video by saying thank you. And I want to thank you for helping me reach a goal of getting over 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, which means I'm now monetized on YouTube. And obviously I couldn't do it without you. So I do thank you and I appreciate it. In the next video, I'll be giving away the print. So stay tuned for that. But I wanted to just reflect a little bit on my time on YouTube and answer a few questions in this video. And the first one would be, what was my time like so far on YouTube? And I know it's only been a short period of time compared to a lot of other people, though it's been a couple of years almost. I think it's been a couple of years to achieve this goal. And what's my time been like? Well, honestly, when I started this channel, what I originally wanted to do was talk about some about publishing and writing my novels, some about maybe my fish tank and what it's like to grow a reef tank, and also about photography. And what I found out was Google doesn't really like that. They don't know where to put you. They want you to find a niche and stay there. And I tried to buck that trend for a little bit, but I just wasn't getting any views at all. But of course, you know, I was new to YouTube. If I tried to do it now, maybe I would still get more views, but I've sort of settled on, for the most part, talking about photography and then throwing in a little bit of other things while talking about photography, like I did in the last video or 2 videos ago about the speakers I was deciding on what to do. And to answer that question, I stayed with the audio engines and I'm quite pleased with them. But my time on YouTube has pretty much been like I expected, but different. And like I said, I was kind of forced into being more of a niche channel rather than just talking about what I felt like talking about. And also, I really wanted this channel to be about you and I, not just about me and, hey, look at this photo I took. I didn't really want it to be about that. I wanted to have more of a conversation between you and I, and I have, over time, developed a relationship, friendship, whatever you want to call it, with a few people that have responded to some of my videos, especially the few people that put in for the monthly photo contest, which you're welcome to do. Just send me an email if you want to put one of your images in the photo of the month. It's not, well, I shouldn't say contest, but in the photo of the month videos. It's not a critique. We'll just add your image to the others. But especially a shout out to Marcus, who always comments and sends me emails. I hear from Cindy, she'll send me an email. And Lou. There's other people, Max. I don't want to leave people out. You know, when I offer, well, what is it you want me to talk about here on YouTube? Mostly photography related. I mean, what do you want to hear? What do you want to know? I'm certainly not an expert in anything. I probably know a fair amount about photography, I would like to think. But anyway, if there's something you want me to discuss, I really am trying to build more of a community rather than just me going out and taking a photograph and talking about it. As far as any other experiences, I will admit there's times I struggle between making a video that I want to make versus making a video that I know will get views and subscribers. And when I was up around 800-900 subscribers, and I could kind of feel that I wanted to get to that 1,000 goal, I made a couple of videos where I knew I'd get a lot of views and hopefully pick up some subscribers. You know, whenever you talk about gear, whenever you talk about, this is my favorite lens, this is the sharpest lens, this is that, you're going to get views and you're going to get some subscribers. And it's not that I necessarily mind making those videos, because I try to be honest and sincere in them, but I'd rather talk about some other things other than my gear. And if you stay tuned for the next video, I'm going to talk about one of those things. It's probably only going to get a few views, but it's something I want to talk about. And that'll be why photographers devalue themselves. Not all, but some. So we're going to talk about that. Overall, I would say I've enjoyed doing these YouTube videos, and I plan on continuing to make them. Hopefully we can grow the channel, you and I, a little bit more. But that's about where that's at. All right, moving on. A couple other questions that I've gotten over time. Do I bracket my images? If you're a landscape photographer, odds are pretty high that you're going to bracket your images. Not every image, but on occasion you are. And why, and if you're new to photography, why would people do that? And how do they do it? Well, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that can explain it probably better than I can. There's a fellow by the name of Shimoda from the eastern part of Canada who makes really good videos, and he's got a pretty good one on that. Essentially what it is, when you're trying to take an image with a lot of dynamic range, meaning you have shadows, you have darkness in your shadows, and you have a bright spotlight. And you don't want to blow out your highlights where you have no texture in your sky or in your highlights. And you don't want to lose your shadows. And in post-processing, you can raise those shadows quite a bit with these newer cameras. But unfortunately, when you do that, you get a lot of noise in your shadows. And you want to try to avoid that. So the way around that is you take a photograph that the camera thinks is exposed properly. And then you might take either one or two shots, maybe even three, depending on how you really want to do it, that are underexposed. Maybe you go a half a stop, maybe you go full stop. And then you do it on the other side, where you overexpose, so that you can get your shadows. And then you go into Lightroom, Photoshop, whatever you use. I use Adobe Camera Raw and Photoshop. And you blend those images together. First of all, you really have to put your camera on a tripod, because you need those 3, 5, 7, however many shots you're taking to register properly, meaning they're all in the exact same spot, so that the computer can then go and stitch those images together, and then you can either manually blend them in or let Photoshop do it. Typically Photoshop does a decent job, but I normally manually blend them in. I put them in layers and then blend them in. But you can let Photoshop do it. They'll do a decent job. And I'll put one image up on the screen now that I took recently in Iceland, where if you look at the waterfall and then you look way to the right of the image where it's going out into the sea, you had highlights. And then in the mountain, you had shadows on the mountain. I believe I took 5 images there, where I underexposed 2 and I overexposed 2, and then I had your average where the camera thought it should be exposed properly. And I blended those 5 images together, and that's the image that I came out with. And it's a pretty common practice. If you're going to get into landscape photography, it's a good thing to know. Also, your camera probably has a setting where it'll take all 5 images all at the same time. In other words, you take the shutter, you hit the shutter speed once, and it will take those 5 images for you, where you don't have to adjust the camera anymore. But remember to turn it off, otherwise the next time you go and take an image, it's going to take 5 images again. I think I've probably made that mistake before. There likely is a way, I know in my Z8 there's a way, and Z7II. There's other cameras, I'm sure, in the Canons and the Sonys that'll automatically set all that up for you. Another question I had was, do you have a favorite photographer? That's a loaded question because there's a lot of photographers I like. If I was forced to pick one or two or three, if you're a landscape photographer, you'd probably say Ansel Adams. So he'd probably be in my top three. Michael Kenna is a wonderful photographer. I also like Eisenstadt from way back. He was a Time magazine photographer mostly. I don't know if you would consider him a street photographer or what type of photographer you would consider him. I enjoy a lot of his work as well. As far as YouTube photographers, I think you have to put YouTube people not in a different class based on, oh, well, they're not real photographers. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that different YouTube people try to accomplish different goals. For example, I mentioned Simon d'Entremont, who's more of a nature wildlife photographer, but he does wonderful videos based on basics of the cameras and a little bit more advanced techniques. And so he focuses a little bit more on education, and he does a really good job at doing that. Somebody like Gavin Hardcastle at Photo Tripper, he tries to combine a little bit of education, a little bit of humor, a little bit of fun, a little bit of showing you the behind the scenes of how he takes a photograph. So he blends a lot of things together, and I think that's more his goal. Somebody like Thomas Heaton, I've mentioned before, I probably have to be careful how I phrase this because I don't want people to take it the wrong way. But I respect Thomas for what he does as much or more than anybody else on YouTube because that guy grinds it out. I mean, he really works hard at producing videos, and now he's got his email list where he sends out his newsletter. He just started up a couple of months ago. And it's not that other YouTube photographers don't work hard. There's a lot of work that goes into these videos, even mine, where I don't have the production value that a lot of these other people have. There's still a lot of work involved. And so I can appreciate the amount of effort and the amount of work that someone like Thomas Heaton puts into his videos. Somebody asked how come I kind of tease about Leica so much in my videos. Jealousy. It's nothing more than that. I'd love to own a Leica camera with a Summilux lens, but I can't afford it. So, and even if I could, I don't know that I'd spend $10,000 on a camera body and $15,000 on a lens. I don't know if I had that kind of money, maybe I would. So I'd say it's just that jealousy. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. I like teasing about it. Sorry, I had a break in there. My wife wanted to ask me about my triglycerides. That's what happens when you video. I have other questions that people have asked, but I'll answer them in another video. But for now, I just wanted to do a little video and say thank you for helping me out, helping me achieve my goal of 1,000 subscribers. And stay tuned. The next video, I'll give away the print and maybe even a couple more prints. Who knows? See what mood I'm in a few minutes when I record the next video. Okay, till then, take good care. Thanks for watching. And if you do have any other questions, just email me. All right? Bye for now.